Today we've got big news coming out of Virgin Voyages, so this is really important if you're thinking of trying Virgin Voyages or if you regularly sail on Virgin Voyages. The Grand Princess just can't get a break. There's more going on the Grand Princess, so I'm going to tell you about it. And then we need to talk about what's going on in the late season up there in Alaska. And finally, Sodagate. I've got a canned soda report for you. So let's go ahead and get started. Hi there, this is Allison with Let's Go Travel Tips. Today is Thursday. It is September 25th of 2025, and if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, will you please be sure to click on that subscribe button, and if you appreciate my updates, please give this video a thumbs up. We're really glad you're here with us, and as I said that intro, I thought to myself, I just said I have a canned soda report for you. Whoever thought that I would be doing that? So let's start there. I just heard from someone who just boarded the Coral Princess. They reported on our Facebook group, as well as someone sent me an email who is on the Enchanted Princess right now. And you know what? Canned soda is no problem. You can have a can of soda, no extra charge, and I'm kind of wondering if we're just creeping back to where we were before Sodagate started and just trying to brush that under the rug. I'll report to you from the Star Princess, and if any of you are on a princess ship right now, in the comments, let us know how the soda is going aboard, okay? Next up, let's talk about Virgin Voyages, because this is a big deal if you're thinking about trying out Virgin Voyages. So historically, Virgin Voyages had their pricing model, but they have just introduced a whole new pricing structure. They liken it to what airlines and hotels do when you book with them, and they're trying to match that situation a little bit. And so instead of just having the regular pricing, they're going to have 3 different levels of pricing now, and it's important to know what is included with each one. And you know what, I'm thinking it might even vary by voyage based on who you're going with, where you're going, how far out it is that you're going to be going on your sailing, and really what you want included and to experience on your cruise. So first up, they start out with their base fares. Their base fares include 1 device of Wi-Fi per person, and that Wi-Fi is good enough to do social media and messaging. So you're not going to be watching YouTube videos or opening big emails, anything like this, okay? It's basically social media and messaging. You have a 15-day reservation window. That means that 15 days before you sail, you can go ahead and make your dining reservations, and you can't change anything about the booking. You can't change the names on the cabin, and you cannot switch to another ship and sail date, anything like that. You can't even switch the cabin. Once you choose what you've got when you book those base fares, that's where you're going to be. Next up, they're going to have essential fares. Those are also going to include 1 device of Wi-Fi, and that Wi-Fi is going to be programmed to be just like the other one, except for you can browse the internet and do audio calls. No FaceTime calls, just enough Wi-Fi to do audio calls. You get a 45-day reservation window for your dining reservations, and you can switch the dates and get a future voyage credit with them. And you can also change the names of the guests on the booking. Just so you know, you generally can't change the first guest on the booking. But anyway, you have to see what your situation is, but it does allow for some name changes. Finally, the premium, which is I think what so many people have enjoyed historically about Virgin Voyages pricing model. You can have 2 devices of Wi-Fi per person, and it does everything that you would want that to do. You get the social media, clear up to streaming videos, so that's great. You get a 60-day dining reservation window, which is just great because on Virgin Voyages they don't have a buffet, they don't have a main dining room. It's all these different restaurants. So I think this is really important, especially if you want to get to try them, or you've been before and know what you just love and you want to be sure to enjoy that again. So 60-day reservation window. You get that bar tab still, which includes $15, a $15 credit towards your drinks per day per person, and if you book on your own rather with a travel agent, which I always advocate booking with a travel agent, you get a little bit of priority help when you call their guest services line. Okay, the really big change, and this stands out to me even more than what they're doing with those different booking, the pricing structure and the way they're letting you book, is, you know what, they're changing what they do with their gratuities. And so if you want to prepay your gratuities on Virgin Voyages, in other words, pay them before you go, you get to pay $20 a day. If you just let them charge your account while you're on a cruise and settle it, to your credit card at the end of the voyage, $22 a day. So in the comments, I want to hear some things from you about Virgin Voyages. Number one, are any of you looking at sailing Virgin? Have you been on Virgin? Let us know what you thought about that, Virgin Voyages there. And then also, what do you think about the gratuities? Would you like to see other cruise lines do that? Now, historically, I think it's important to know that Virgin Voyages just rolled the gratuities in with the cruise fare. So breaking it out is new, but I like that they give you the option if you want to save a little bit of money if you prepay those. So I'll be looking forward to reading your comments there. Now, let's go ahead and move on to, let's see what's next. Let's talk about that Grand Princess. So the Grand Princess, if you've been following along here, has been having a lot of trouble. I'll have Gordon link my video that I put out the other day. She is just today docked in Puerto Amador, Panama, and they will be transiting the Panama Canal tomorrow. It is pouring down rain. As a result of that, they do have leaks on board the ship. I have a lot to tell you about the Grand. So they do have leaks on board the Grand Princess. Apparently, just people that have let me know what's going on. And by the way, thank you all for letting me know how things are going. I really appreciate it. It really helps all of us know what's going on. And so, there in the spa and fitness area, it is leaking, buckets out, things like that. In different hallways, there are buckets out to catch the drips in the buffet. So there are some buckets out to catch the leaks there in the buffet. And it's a new thing. They haven't had any communication, with anything on board. I think you just have to walk around the buckets. Let me know if you've ever been on a ship when there have been leaks before. But heavy rains there. Hopefully it'll dry up really quick. But I appreciate people letting me know what that looks like. The other thing that I have been notified about is there on the Piazza deck, deck 5, there was an awful lot of water there. They are thinking that it probably blew in from the gangway, but that's probably how it got in there is what they're thinking. But for a little while, the gangway on deck 6 was closed because of the high winds, and apparently there was some damage. And so for about a half an hour, the gangway was closed and people weren't able to access that. So a lot of weather going on there in Puerto Amador and a lot of leaks on the Grand Princess. So I'm sure that the crew on board is trying to fix those. Just wanted to let you know what's going on. And I would really appreciate it. Those of you who are on the Grand Princess, let me know how the situation is going. And I will email people back and ask as well, is there any improvement with AC? Any improvement with toilets working better? That'll kind of give us an idea how things are straightening out during the voyage. But the other thing, I cannot remember when we were on our Coral Princess Panama Canal cruise. We sailed on February 19th from Los Angeles, ended over in Fort Lauderdale. I did not pay enough attention to know if the laundry services and some of the pool areas were closed on the day that we transited the Panama Canal. So if anybody was there, can you remind me if you knew about that? I wasn't trying to do laundry that day. I was just really focusing on the Panama Canal. But on this sailing of the Grand Princess, there's a sign there on the laundry room, and it was posted otherwise. Laundromats and certain pool recreational facilities are temporarily unavailable due to environmental restrictions while passing through Puerto Amador and the Panama Canal. Laundromats on board, and like they said, certain pool recreation facilities are not going to be available from 7 p.m. on the 24th, so that was last night. And they are going through the Panama Canal on Friday until 7 a.m. on the 27th. So that puts you clear to the next day when you're clearly clear out of the Panama Canal and sailing somewhere else, that they're going to finally open those again. I don't know the whole situation with that. So if you have anything to add to that, would you put it in the comments? Send me an email. Thank you. So I know that as I talk about what is going on with the Grand Princess, that there are people out there thinking, should I cancel my Grand Princess sailing? You know what? If I had a sailing booked on the Grand Princess, I would go. There's different ways to look at things. Is it good that the ship is leaking with the heavy rains? No, that is never a good thing. At the same time, maybe it exposed some leaks that they can fix for the future. Hopefully, I'm sure they're paying attention to where it is leaking right now and seeing what they can do to fix it. So the exact same thing happening on another cruise is perhaps a little less likely. At the same time, if you want to go on a ship that is a lot newer, some people don't sail on older ships. Some people want to go on those older ships because of the itinerary. There are magnificent itineraries that the Grand Princess sails. So to me, I wouldn't cancel my cruise. I would just know that something might go wrong. I would be prepared to manage it, and I would go. So let me know in the comments what you all think, okay? Okay, I just have so many updates for you. I have to choose what I'm going to tell you today. A quick update. Remember I told you about all of those cars that were stolen there in Southampton at the port there from that warehouse, where they had apparently cameras. So they clearly knew which cars were stolen. And so they used their CCV, I think is what you call it, the cameras that they have on the road there to try to find those cars. And they found 6 of them. And they have not released any information. The police there say that it is still under investigation, so they're not going to say who was driving those cars or anything to do with that. But I'm really excited to hear, and I want to know in the comments. Let me know. How many of you have looked up the Gardner heist? I told you about it the other day in my video where I let you know what was going on with that Grand Theft Auto situation that happened there in Southampton. But it's really, really interesting. So drop in the comments if you looked it up, if you watched the series on Netflix, have obtained the book to read about it. It's really very interesting. Okay, finally, I want to tell you what's going on in the Alaska season right now, because I think it is really important that you consider some of these things when you're deciding when you're going to book your cruise. Alrighty. So first up, the update that I've got for you is from the Discovery Princess. So due to high winds coming in yesterday on Wednesday, they were not able to do their scheduled visit, their scenic cruising there to go to the Dawes Glacier. They do that through Endicott Arm and just go up and see the Dawes Glacier. They were not able to do that. Due to the weather, they also had to shift their visit to Juneau, Alaska. And so yesterday, instead of doing the cruising, like I was just saying, of the glacier, they ended up visiting Juneau. They were there from 8 o'clock in the morning until 9:15 p.m. On the notice that one of you was so kind to send to me, right away they said their excursion team was trying to find new excursions for everybody. Of course, if you had your excursion booked with Princess, that would be refunded. But this is an important note to make sure if you book a private excursion with someone, make sure that you know how to get a hold of them when you're on the cruise so that you can contact them if anything changes with your port visit. Because sometimes, like in this situation, the port days are rearranged, and sometimes like you don't ever even go to that port because of the weather or something. So you need to know how to get a hold of them and what their cancellation policy looks like. Alrighty, that's really important about this. The other change is that from Skagway, today they are in Skagway and they have to leave early. They were supposed to leave at 5 p.m. Instead, they're going to be leaving at 3:30 so that they can get ahead of the weather and hopefully be able to sail in calmer waters. They've got it mapped out how they're going to do that. And so as we talk about this, I want you to pay attention that this is late in the season. Of course, we can have storms, we can have a lot of wind and rain anytime. That's just part of weather, part of what happens. Mother Nature is, setting that up for us. And not really, I know that. But anyways, the weather can be really fickle. But as you get later and later and later in the season there, you have a greater probability of having bad weather. Does that mean I don't think you should go late in the season? Absolutely not. I think you should go when you can go. A lot of times those cruises that go later in the season on all the cruise lines, not just Princess, are cheaper because the cruise line recognizes that you're later in the season. Families aren't cruising so much then because children are back in school, and they just know that you're getting a little bit closer to bad weather. So often those are more affordable. So if that's the only way you get to go, absolutely go then. If you find yourself with free time and there's a great cruise fare, I always think you should go. But I wanted you to think about that. If you are looking at going on an Alaska cruise, you might want to consider a little earlier in the season to try to hopefully have a better chance at better weather. So I look forward to hearing from all of you in the comments that have sailed to Alaska, what your weather looked like, and especially those of you who sailed a little bit later. So thank you for joining me here today. I'll be talking to you all again really soon. You all take really good care. God bless you. Love you. Bye-bye.